How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay, we're live.
You can be our director then for the day, like we're on a movie.
Welcome and thank you for choosing free conference. If you are the host, press star. Please enter your PIN. Thank you. You are the only participant in the conference. The recording has started.
Do we win?
I don't know. Hear anything?
No.
So I
How are they
figure that's a
gonna
no.
contact us?
Or a telephone call with it.
Telephone.
Yeah, because they opened the visit at 1, right, or they were due
Yeah.
at 1.
Yeah, I'm sure you sent like a official letter, right?
It was supposed to be delivered on Saturday.
Is Wes gonna be here today? Do you know?
Just walking in the door. I believe.
Were your ears ringing? I was just asking if you're gonna be here today.
Nope, not gonna be here.
All right. Have a good night.
Sorry, got caught up clearing the driveway.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Is he not gonna be
I
here
don't know.
tonight?
I just hit
I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
you know,
weird.
fell
For him
down.
not to be here.
No, there he is.
There's Jason.
Yeah. That's what I did. I hit my boot on it and it slammed me down. Demoted. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Good evening.
Yes.
All
of them. Take a choice. Looks like a short agenda. So maybe.
Don't jinx us.
Yes, we are, Jameson.
8:15.
There.
That might be real
Supper
true.
was good tonight.
What's that?
Supper was good.
Wasn't it? Oh, pulled pork sandwich, my goodness. It was
Yeah,
good.
that's Chris.
I was mad. I thought.
They had what, 72 orders last night?
72 orders last night.
That's well
Open.
worth it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was good. It's a hit so far, guys. That was part of my report.
Okay, we won't.
We won't say anymore.
Oh, that's all I got. It was
Too
good.
late, I was gonna say, because we're alive now. That's all you
That's all
got.
I have to say. It was
As you
really
start
good.
talking, I'm just gonna say I already heard.
I know. We know already.
Morning, it's 8 o'clock. Let's go.
It's in that book.
Mine's water. I don't know about hers. Hers isn't see-through, so we don't know.
It's water.
Yes, non-detectable.
That's correct.
How you doing?
Good, how are you today?
Just fine. Yeah, but how's it going?
Yeah.
Peachy keen.
Good.
Can't believe you got everything up and going before 6:30.
Ahead of time.
Yeah.
You do. Twiddle your thumbs. Yes. There's one. Is it, what time is your phone? Does that say 6:20?
28.
6:27.
Yeah.
That says 6:30. What do we go by?
Average.
It's the average, yeah.
I like to go, start by that one and end by this one.
That sounds good.
Is it in time?
Now it's 6:20.
Keep me in the loop, Steve.
I'm by the screen. I see what's by the screen.
It's not going here. Well, here's the problem. Steve's gonna start talking and it's gonna turn back on.
I think you should. People living in.
Termites.
Can you check that out for us?
Yeah.
Giggling,
There's
giggling
2-year-olds living in the
termites.
wall.
That was cute.
They're little tiny people.
They got too tired of pedaling the wheel. That's why the fan stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, close enough. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Roll call. Steve,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken.
Yep.
Item number 3, approval of agenda. In front of you, you do have the agenda. Are there any additions, subtractions, corrections, movements that need to be made?
There's a correction needs to be made back on the city of Maxwell's telephonic meeting. I don't believe Scott had 6 food trucks turned in Peddler permits to sell on Sunday and Mondays. Stuff like that, but
Oh.
paste, the cut and paste problem there. But it was funny to read.
Yeah, Doug told me some stuff too.
Okay.
Other than that, I will take
Well,
a.
Also, I don't think the dollar amount was $46,001, was it?
It was 42.
42.
On the agenda for March 3rd.
Well, I know I typed in that Ken amended it, so evidently it didn't get updated.
But yeah, it was 42.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
Just,
nothing in
just
here
throw that one
about,
out.
nothing in here about Ken amending.
Just throw that one completely out.
Okay.
And it will approve it at the next meeting.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
So item 9D to be scratched. Any other corrections, changes that need to be made? Otherwise, I will take a motion to approve. Moved
So,
by Ken,
second,
second by Steve. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken.
Yeah.
Item number 4, citizens forum. At this time, we will take any public comment other than anything on the agenda. Is there any public comment? Going once, going twice. All right. Item number 5A, sheriff's report. I do have the report here. I can pass it. Did you already look at that? What do you got for us?
I'm here for Deputy Luke. He's busy on a call, and I don't get to a lot of meetings anymore, so I thought I'd stop down. And I'm Nick Hotchkiss. I supervise the afternoon patrol shift for the sheriff's office. Usually we have the deputies obviously go to the meetings, but just want to stop by and see if we're meeting your expectations. If you have any issues you'd like to discuss or anything we can do to, I guess, better our service for the town, I'm all ears. And if you do think of something after I leave or at a later date, you're more than welcome to call up and I can talk to you via email, come down in person. I'm always around. So 3 to 11 is our shift. And if we can help you out in any way, just let us know.
Has there been any updates on the suspicious fires next door?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I can check on that and get back with you if you'd like me to.
Yes, please.
Okay. I think we really have agency-wise, we are hiring 1 deputy and 1 dispatcher, so we'll be up to 33 certified. So this year alone, we're going to be putting 2 more people on the road. So that should help out with getting people out and about and seeing more often. So we're really looking forward to that. It's been, gosh, I think it's been over 20 years since they've added a position. And finally, we're starting to get a couple more, which is outstanding for us. So.
Good deal.
Anything from the council?
Yes, in the past, we've had, the sheriff's office, tag a car that, was parked, on for more than 72 hours.
Okay.
Put a notice on it, and then if it's not moved, then it gets to be towed. And Deb, do we still have a vehicle on Baldwin that is parked on city property built that without permission?
I don't know.
Black box.
Was it the big pickup?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yes, it was yesterday, 12:30.
We have a partially torn apart vehicle parked in the city park. The city has not provided permission, and I had asked that the city resolve it, and one way of resolving it is to put a tag on it, and if it isn't moved within specified period of time, then it's towed, right?
If it's there and you guys don't want it there, the city's more than welcome to obviously call a tow as well if you guys don't want it there. I can look into it for you if that's what you're asking.
Would you please?
I can. What's the address?
I'll pull it up.
I'll have it here for you in just a second.
Okay. Do you know who the owners are of the vehicle?
I don't.
Okay.
Does anybody here?
I do not.
Do they live in the, what they call the basement house?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you go up Baldwin Street here.
Yep.
There's like a half a house there. We call it the basement house because it's just a basement with a roof on top of it. That's where they live.
Okay.
So, and
West
then,
side.
I don't know if you can kind of see my cursor here. So Main Street, we're like over here right now.
Yep.
But I think it's parked like right here. Yep. Not even parked.
In
it's on
between
the
those-
lot.
The set maybe up a little bit more, right? See that little dark black spot right here? Go right here. That's the basement house.
You can't miss it. It's the only half torn apart pickup on the
Yep.
west side of the road on Baldwin,
Okay.
north of Second.
And it's a rental house, so the person's name that comes up there is not the owner,
Black
not the
and white.
occupant.
So 217 there,
Not the one I'm thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baldwin? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll have to after we leave here. Has it been tagged yet or?
No, I don't believe so. Has it, Deb?
I sent a letter to Bob saying that his rental people had vehicles there that needed to be moved.
You sent that last week,
Yes.
and it's still there. So
Okay.
the owner of the rental property has been notified that his tenant has an illegal parked vehicle, but nothing has been marked on the vehicle itself yet. I don't know if you just put a little sticker on it or if you wrap it in caution tape or whatever you do. But we need to get the owner's attention and they either move it or we have it towed.
So the city's requesting it towed once,
If it's
as soon as
not,
possible? Okay. You got it.
If it's still there tomorrow, I'll try to remember and I'll
Yep.
place a ticket on it on the city side.
well, I'm not sure that you can because it's not in the street.
Okay.
And the things
That makes
that
sense.
you can do
Are only on the street.
are issue tickets for illegal parking. And since it's on, not in the street, it may not be parked.
Gotcha.
It is just illegally encroaching upon city property, or it's,
Okay.
I don't know what the violation is, that it's, by definition, it's junk because it's missing parts. And it's on city property and it has no permission to be, so
Has anybody seen it today by chance?
I have not.
I saw it, today's Monday. Yes, I saw it this morning.
Was it a park?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I saw it
Front
yesterday
wheels
when we
are
were
still
doing
off.
the food trucks. And it was apart, really apart.
Front wheels off,
Yeah.
up on Ducky Jack's.
So in other words, I don't think it's gonna be moving anytime soon.
Well, without somebody notifying them, maybe they just go out, put the wheels on and move it, I don't know.
So if I talk to them, do you want it off the property? Because they could put the wheel on, move it a foot, and then it's good for another 3 days.
That's not,
Yeah.
there's not permitted on, city property, it's neat.
Yep.
If they wanna move it and park it on the street, then sure, that would be legal.
Yep. I'll take care of it when I leave here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else for Story County? Cool.
Is there somebody I could reach out for with an update on the fire investigation?
You can either contact Deb
Okay.
at City Hall or myself.
I'll get in touch with the investigator.
Okay.
Division and see where they're at with that, and I'll let you know when I hear something.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
So with
Yeah,
that
even if
said-
it's still just an open investigation, that much information would, be valuable.
So with that said, shouldn't there have been fire investigator anyway coming in to look at that, or has there
I
been?
believe there already has been. I think they were here like the week after,
A week.
or the week after it happened. So it happened, what, the Sunday
Saturday.
morning?
Sunday
And I think they
morning.
came Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that week.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it, but I did hear they had some people of interest in the case, and they're looking into them, so that's all I
Perfect.
Awesome.
know for there.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
Good. Have a good night.
Stay safe, please.
Yep.
Thank you, stay safe.
And I'll let you know on that truck. I'll go take a look.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 5B, Fire Department report. 2 calls with 8 people, no injuries or accidents, no maintenance, special events. 3 people have started firefighter 1 class. No future plans, and the city doesn't need anything to do. Anything for Tony on the fire side? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5C. EMS report. Total page outs for Maxwell, 13. Total responded to is 4. Average certified EMS personnel per call, 1 to 2. Fire person assist, 1. Cambridge to Maxwell, 7. EMS monthly meeting. Training attendance, they did not have that. Not enough medics to attend the meeting. Monthly truck check was complete. CQI was completed by Story County
No,
Medical.
was not
Monthly truck
complete.
check
not.
was not complete.
Correct.
So the next question was,
This-
if no, why not?
I will reach out to Scott for that one.
Maybe for the same reason of the previous line.
Could be.
Not enough people attended the meeting.
CQI completed, yes, by Story County Medical Center. Vehicle maintenance needed, annual service for A63. Anything from the city? No. Some notes. February 3rd, there was a call at the same time the first Casey's fire was in progress and available medics were attending to the fire, so no EMS personnel responded. February 16th, there was an EMS call that 1109 responded to for lift assist, and upon arrival, it was clear that it would take 1109 Cambridge and Story County Medical Center to complete the call. Anything
Who
for,
is 1109? Is that the chief?
yeah, that'd be Tony.
Okay.
Anything else for Scott aside from the question on the truck check?
Nope.
Okay, I'll reach out to him on that. All right, library report. Let's see. Looks like they checked out 178 books, 43 DVDs, 198 in attendance, 103 bridges, 68 on hold. They did, if I read this correctly, on item 2D, the board was encouraged to attend city meetings for ways to strengthen library supports of the town. So that has been under conversation at least. Any questions for the library board or Crystal?
Let you look through it for a little bit.
Morgan is the part-time librarian.
Okay.
They hired. And I don't think, unless you have, Lauren, I haven't heard anything about budget.
I have
on their
not.
side.
No updates.
If there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to Public Works. The new backhoe is here. It only took 3 years to get done. Parks, we'll think about opening up restrooms on April 1st. Pumped about 2 million gallons, sold about 1 million gallons. We have a leak that is most likely homeowner service line. We'll be having the leak guy come out, find it if no one notices it in the meantime. Sewer, we pumped 1.5 million gallons. Anything for Tony on Public Works side? Done. Move on to city clerk. Miscellaneous information, too many council meetings. Well, I think we're about done with those.
We've had enough for the year.
Budget is complete and was sent to the paper. So you have the treasurer's report and budget report in front of you as well. We'll give you time to look over that. Is there any questions, comments, concerns for Deb or Dee?
Deb,
Mm,
on the treasurer's report, the Fund 625 has $7,000. As of the end of February, I believe it should be much more than that.
Yes, it should. I need to talk to you about that when you have time.
Okay, I'll come down tomorrow.
Anything else for Deb and Dee?
Yes.
Okay.
Fund 612, which is the wastewater treatment plant facility. We're still $104,000 in the hole. I don't know if this is a Deborah or West question.
Have we gotten all of our reimbursements from the SRF and CDBG?
No.
Is that what the difference is, maybe?
I know we're still looking at some that he was waiting for some reports to be done or an audit before he
Okay.
could send some more in.
Okay, that's on his side.
Yeah.
$104,000 worth? Huh?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've given him all the bills up to this point.
You've given them to him, but they haven't been paid yet because somebody is awaiting a report which needs to be done by our grant manager.
Yeah, he had an audit done, which they do every time you have a CDBG. So they were waiting for that.
And we're still $145,000 in the hole on Fund 303 FEMA wind disaster.
Yep, we haven't gotten any payments for that yet.
Has that been approved?
It's been partially approved. It still had to go through another agency to be approved.
Gotcha.
And is that going to be approved for $145,000, or is that how much we submitted, or is it going to be less than that?
We submitted all of that. We'll see how much they actually pay.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Steve?
Not on the treasurer's report.
Anything for council on treasury report? Then we'll get to budget. Budget report.
The enterprise fund is significantly in the red, and that is because we have not received, well, in part because we did not budget appropriately, and in part because we haven't received everything we've asked for. Is that correct?
Yes. Which is the next process, is doing a budget amendment.
Well, we get this next year's budget approved, and then you'll have all that extra time to work on the budget amendment, right?
Sure.
Thank you, Deb. I'll stop down tomorrow.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Sure you
What?
She said, sure you do. Without sarcasm.
I believe you.
Anything else for Devin D? Okay, moving on, Wes, you're up.
Certainly. No. I'll follow up. What I'm doing right here is to follow up with Justin at Simmering Corey 2 and coming up from our angle to
Great.
get an update status on where that payment might be. So, all right, real quick, not a lot going on, too much on our side. The Baldwin Street project, we are done with that. We got that application submitted that we talked about February meeting. We are still waiting on a response from them on how that will turn out. In fact, we were trying to track them down last week and this week to see if we could get an answer for tonight, but you know, crickets. So that's still to come. I did note in there, did some math a little bit on the CDBG side. So Maxwell's the CDBG maximum grant amount is based on population. So the most Maxwell can get is $300,000. That would we talked about doing that to include water main replacement as part of the Baldwin Street project. So the estimated cost for the water main, the last one we did was about $400,000. To get the full 300, you have to do, I think it's a 50-50 match, at least 50-50 match. So there's 400 in water main. It's possible that we could get some pavement eligible for that, because if you were just doing the water main project, you'd have to replace pavement to get to the water main. So some of that pavement that we're already doing anyway could be eligible towards the water main project. I don't know if design fees or planning fees are covered by CDBG. I don't know. I'll have to check with Justin on that one. But it's possible that we could get close to that $600,000 50-50 match to add the water main in, which ultimately would mean if we got a $300,000 grant, adding the water main, we estimate to be about $400,000. You'd get the new water main for $100,000 or a little more. So something to think about. I showed all my math in the memo there, so you can look at it. If we do want to look at doing some of that water main, the next step would be to get you a supplemental to do that water main design and get it included in the plans. And then also we would help you guys do a procurement for grant administrator services for the CDBG, similar to what we did with the wastewater treatment plant. And you can go with Simmering Corey again. There's a couple others out there if you wanted to. And then they, again, walk you through the CDBG, do the LMI survey that we would need to do, the low and moderate income survey to determine eligibility of the area, which I'm pretty sure will be. And then a couple other steps. The CDBG and also the STBG, which is the pavement funding that we went after, or that we've applied for. Both of those do have some additional hoops, because there's no such thing as free money. And so there's some environmental clearances that you'd have to do with those, some other permitting that would come from those program requirements. So just a heads up that there's a little bit more there that would need to be done. So anyway, that's where on the Baldwin, really what we're waiting on there is, if we want to include that water main, find out what it looks like from the Surface Transportation Grant Program, and then set a schedule for, when you want to look to do it, and then look to commit all the funding from all the sources. So, we'll let you know what we find out on the transportation grant, and then we can be available to help and give us direction how you want to proceed on the rest of it too. The wastewater treatment plant improvements, like I said, I'll check with Justin on that payment, but the construction is done, all the punch list items are done. The last thing is just some of the cleanup paperwork, administrative closeout items, record drawings for your guys' files of what was built, and some Davis-Bacon audits and things like that. It's all paperwork stuff. So that's all that's left to do there. The Woodlawn Stormwater Study, we have completed the existing conditions review of that, and we are currently in the development of the proposed alternatives there, looking at some different conveyance recommendations down through that to potentially improve the drainage south of the stadium area along Woodlawn. We anticipate that we'll probably have that for you at the next council meeting, if not before, so we can discuss them a little bit further. Same thing with the Heart of Iowa arch bridge erosion repair. We need to get that all prettied up, and we'll get that to you with the anticipation of discussing with the next council meeting as well.
Side note, I was telling them beforehand, I drove by after we got 1.25 inches of rain on Saturday, drove by the detention pond there at the corner of Metcalf, and was that 3rd Street, 4th Street? Seems like it's doing its job.
Was it holding water?
It was holding water.
It's a good
And
sign.
it was pushing, it didn't seem like it was pushing very fast water out, so.
Okay, and so it had not overtopped the road, it stayed in that?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Good. It looks like it shouldn't work, but
Looks like it did.
the number, well, it all depends on what rainstorm. I tell people hydrology is more of an art than a science.
And I think
It's all statistics, so.
I think it'll work a lot better if we get the stormwater study done and fixed, because that's exactly where the big puddled water is going. It's right to that drain that is either broken or.
With or without the stadium, Woodlawn has always, I say always, but in my 10, 12 years here, it's never.
We're still gonna rename it,
So.
Riverlawn.
Riverlawn, yeah. So, yeah, hopefully we'll have some potential good things there, and we can start looking at those options next month.
Anything from council for Wes? Rock Creek ATI, the rumor is that they backed out.
Okay.
And when I found that out, they completely fell off the face of the earth and aren't contacting me back. So good news is we potentially have another developer that might be interested in that as well. And they're interested in the same design.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they officially notify us that they're not in the?
They never actually submitted anything official.
What is that, just a cancellation?
There's nothing to cancel or?
There's
No,
there's no contract, there's nothing.
Because they've never submitted a pre-plat,
No.
final plat.
No.
If they've done that process, maybe, but they never actually officially submitted anything.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just some concepts and discussion.
And 2 years wasted. Oh, I didn't say that.
2 more. 2 with an actual developer.
Yeah.
With this actual,
Well,
there's been several.
it was a lot of effort
Yeah.
on the mayor's part, the council's part in discussing with ATI. I wouldn't consider it wasted effort because we all learned quite a bit from it. And hopefully with the next developer, we'll be able to approach it much more wisely.
Yep.
How's that being Pollyanna?
I like it.
Way to stay positive, Steve. Get a gold sticker today.
Gee, thanks.
Parks and Open Spaces Board. Any updates, anything on that?
I don't have any updates, but, Spring Fever has me, looking into Ken's idea as far as the spotlights for the trees. Worked with Randy a little bit And I'll be taking his ideas, obviously, his spotlights are, bigger and grander than what I thought we would use, which he's probably right. We need to use something more robust, sturdier. It's gonna withstand the elements, that sort of thing. So I'll be taking those to the next Parks and Open Spaces Board and talking about it there.
Ken, you were not at the last Legion meeting, but there was discussion concerning the shelter at the Freedom Rock. And it's my understanding that someone has talked to Randy and that we are going to proceed with the shelter as designed without the additional columns.
Okay.
Now, that was something that you were going to check on. I didn't know if you ever got around.
I heard rumor about that, but now with that said, we could probably get them back with Chris. And so I guess we're not putting those columns around that anymore, right?
No.
So that's good.
So we gave Chris the columns that
I think he's
we need.
got one to work on or something
Okay.
to try it, so we'll just probably have to call him, get it back.
And it's my understanding that Mr. Waddingham wants to do it as a shop / 4-H project. So he probably needs to be notified. Is that something that you would like to do, or you want me to do, or the mayor to do?
I can do it. Talk to Waddingham.
It's the FFA.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna,
What
Correct him,
I say?
4-H.
He said 4-H.
Oh,
It's FFA, that's fine. We knew what you meant.
thank you. And if there's going to be any Legion assistance, it would need to be done before everybody goes into the field. So March, early April. And if Mr. Waddingham can't do it at that schedule, then I would suggest that Tony and Crispy do that they should be part of it regardless, because it is a city facility that's being built. And so that they oversee or
oversee it.
assist.
Okay, I'll go with Jamie.
Anything else for Parks and Open Spaces?
Yes. I heard that, I don't know who's doing it, but somebody was selling flowers or bulbs or plants to raise money for the Parks and Open Spaces.
Yes.
Is that a conflict of interest since we already have a forest in town?
I don't think there's
these are like plants and bulbs that you can plant in your own flower garden. You wouldn't
But
necessarily
they
buy
sell
that.
plants, and what about the school? They sell plants too.
I think it was in
Isn't that-
conjunction with that.
It's,
Wasn't it in conjunction with the FFA?
it was, and
Yeah.
I believe the FFA was aware, and I think our fundraiser for that stops before FFA starts selling their
Their
flowers.
plants and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Well, that was just something that I had heard, and I thought I would ask while I was here.
Yep.
Thank you.
no conflict of interest
We
there.
have
Go ahead.
raised $400 so far for Parks and Open Spaces. For I think we've got 3 or 4 weeks left, so doing very well.
Good deal. Anything else for Parks and Open Spaces?
Does have, like the truck vendors need any kind of a license from the city? Because it's not a business that has a physical address.
The truck vendors.
No,
food truck?
the, sale of the fundraising of bulbs and whatnot.
I'm confused.
It's going through an actual company, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going
is it
through
like,
like
it's through a website.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you, like,
nobody's
order
No
online.
physical.
here.
Oh, no, no, no,
presence.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Through a website.
Anything else? I'm trying to move on again. Okay. Public hearing, item number 6.
No, there's
Have a
nothing.
All right. You said there's nothing?
There's nothing.
Okay.
That's the normal place where we would have a hearing if we had one.
Perfect.
Okay.
Item number 7, discussion action on bids for ambulance.
Is that the bids for the rescue van?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ken and I and Deb came up on, was that Friday? Thursday. And opened bids. And we got 5 bids, with the highest bid being $2,000. So we need a,
Move that we accept the bid from Mark Bush at $2,000.
that's a motion made by Steve,
Second.
second by Megan. Discussion? Hearing none. Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah,
Yes.
All right.
he was pretty adamant that he didn't get it. He just sent the check.
Yeah. Go ahead and cash it.
That's hilarious.
That's
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Does he know what did he tell you what he had plans for it for?
I think it's going to be tailgating.
I wondered. It would be, that would make a wonderful thing.
7B, discussion action on backhoe rental payment. In front of you, you do have the invoice from Ziegler for $3,058. If you remember,
And
and another $2,000. If you remember, we approved this because we thought, or part of it, not all this amount, because we needed it for snow removal. And obviously it took longer than expected to get our new backhoe in process, so.
Deb, could you read the motion that we made back in, what was it, November, or December? Please.
Golly moved to rent the backhoe for a month for snow removal because they may not be available when needed. Jan seconded.
We had an amount though, didn't we?
No, there's no amount in here.
There was one on the tape though. Pretty sure it's 2,400.
I don't remember that.
I wrote it down.
There's 3 ayes and 2 nays.
It was to rent for, the motion was to rent for a month.
Yep.
And this is the second and third month.
This is the first month and the second month.
Okay.
We listened to the tape. I'm sure there was a dollar amount of Tony's recommendation, what he,
Does that go like up to 2,400 or how? What was the
it was a
2,400?
flat amount. But that was what he wanted, the company wanted for a month's rent.
That's well above 2,400.
My suggestion would be to call Ziegler, because I thought they were going to give us a discount. Is that what the second one is with the discount?
Just different time period. One's from 12/9 through 1/5, and the other one is from
Yeah.
2-3.
2/3 to 2/17.
So what happened between 1-6 and
Are we gonna get another bill?
are we missing one?
Those are the 2 that I received.
the invoice that is dated January 6th is page 1 of 2. Was page 2 just boilerplate?
Yes, it was. There wasn't much on it.
So we have an invoice date of January 6th, an invoice date of February 17th. And one of them goes up to the 5th, which makes sense. And the other one is like 15 days. Goes up to the 17th.
Was it returned on the 17th?
Not 100% sure.
So what Jameson said he would like to do is review this bill with Ziegler.
Yep.
And present it to the council at the next meeting.
Yep.
Which would be at our budget meeting in 2 weeks.
Which would be the 21st.
First, national holiday.
What's the national holiday?
Birthday.
Oh. Good. Bring treats.
I'll bring treats.
I have to bake some cupcakes. I think it'd also be good to review what the tape said from that meeting as well.
What was the date of that meeting? So I can look back on it.
Well, if it was in December, it would have been 12.
December
No.
6th.
December 6th. Anything else on that item? Anything that you guys want me to bring up to Ziegler while I'm on the phone with them? No. Okay. Moving on, item 7C, discussion action on replacement of broken playground equipment. And I believe you can see the quotes that are attached for $881.91. This includes the plastic piece, the and all the equipment or nuts and bolts needed.
That's why I recommend this one.
Move the mayor is authorized to accept the quote, and that the funds be paid from parks, what is it, equipment maintenance or ground maintenance? What is the line item, Deb?
The equipment, and there's also ground maintenance.
Equipment.
Sure.
Which will run it over budget, but hopefully the entire parks budget will come in under, so we should be okay.
That was a motion made by Steve.
Second.
Second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yep.
Ken.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Discussion action on Betterment Award nominees. It looks like there was one nominee for Kathy Smith.
You did not say Lauren. I didn't vote on that. I don't think you said, right?
You voted right before you.
Oh,
Did I
Lauren.
start it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
Everyone said yes on that last one.
Everyone said yes.
Yes, you should stop.
I don't know what to do, sorry.
Or just go ahead and yell yes.
Just yes, and yes for me.
Yes for Myers.
Okay, now moving on
Yeah.
to the Betterment Award nominees. We had one nominee, Kathy Smith, because she works so incredibly hard for the CM Booster Club. Mans empowers all the concession stands for the school, treasurer of the mark, and recently painted all the fire hydrants in town. She writes grants for our town, is very skilled at it, and was just recently awarded $13,000 in grant funds for the school. This is in addition to all the other funding she has worked so hard for. She does anything she's asked, and we could use 100 more Kathy Smiths.
They exhaust me. Move approval of Kathy Smith as for the Betterment Award this year to be issued at the next regular meeting.
If we can get the plaque by then, hopefully we can.
To be issued upon receipt of plaque at the next regular meeting following receipt of plaque.
It's a motion made by Steve.
Or
Second.
make it and give it to her later.
Second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Doug.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Megan.
Yes.
Discussion and action on citywide cleanup day. In front of you, you do have a conversation between the city and Gavin with Pratt. Disposal costs are currently $70 a ton. The pricing for roll-offs was included in the section G of the service agreement at $275 dump plus disposal cost. Also note that will change from previous years. TVs are no longer accepted at the landfill, so they will be excluded from the collection. Is there a date? Last year was May 1st, which would mean, to go that same timeline, March, April 30th would be the Saturday or the 7th the following week.
Do we know what school prom is?
It is April. What is it? Oh.
So we had some high school kids help once.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was like the 13th. That's not a Saturday, so maybe it's the 16th.
Never saw either of those dates.
No.
So is monitors considered TVs?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm seeing your little question marks there.
Well, Devin suggested going with an e-garbage, which is recycling. They might be willing to take the TVs and monitors.
How many roll-offs do we normally get? 5?
We've been getting 3 the last couple of years, 1 for construction and 2 for garbage.
So 275 times 3 is $825 plus the $70 per ton. Do we know how many tons we normally get?
No, I didn't get time to look that up.
Okay. So might be $1,200 or so. And if we do an e-garbage, then we would need another roll-off, possibly a smaller one.
From a different company, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know how much that would be. What's the company name?
I don't know. That's just what he suggested.
Okay.
Is what Gavin suggested we do.
Yeah. Or just don't take the TVs and monitors.
Or the monitors.
Yeah, I don't think it would take a
Or any
30-yard
other
roll off for
electronics.
the TVs or monitors.
You said what?
I said, I don't think it would take a 30-yard roll off for
No.
TVs and significantly smaller, even like a 8-yard dumpster or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't have to be much.
We
I
just
don't
put
think
them in
we're
the
gonna
back
have
of
that
one of the
many.
dump trucks and then get a dumpster a day or two later, based on what we have and how much we're
I
gonna
could do
need.
that too. Going back, just collect them.
Uh-huh.
Charge
Charge for
on the
'em.
back of the city dump truck.
Yeah, and then just collect them and then
And then
figure it out. from
Get a
there.
receptacle, once we know how much,
Or just drive it to where.
or take it.
If the dump truck would go that far. I like that idea. Just using the dump truck,
Just collect them, yeah.
and
Figure it out
whatever
later.
electronics we get, we throw it in the back of the dump truck. And are we gonna have a metal one? Since we don't
So
have a
you-
metal container
We don't have
anymore,
anything here.
so it may be
Four.
four of them.
Car Country is usually free for their metal.
What? Who was it?
Car Country is usually free for the metal dumpster.
So we don't
Okay.
have to pay for that at all.
So what date did we decide on?
Well, we can't do it the 30th of April, so should we work on the 7th of
May
May?
7th.
That would still be before graduation, so the kids would still be home to haul the garbage for the parents.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting out until like June 3rd this year. Right?
Right, June 2nd, is the last
Wow.
day for high school.
And that was the 4th now, because of the 2 makeup days.
It was, first and second are the two makeup days. It was supposed to be May 30, I think.
Days off.
I thought our weekly
Should be
announcements just said
August.
it
Oh,
was
did it?
June
All right.
4th.
Okay, so May 7th.
Unless we want to back it up further. We don't want to do it the last weekend of May, because that's Memorial Day weekend.
Can't do it the second to last either, because that's graduation.
And so it either be the 7th or the 14th. When's Mother's Day?
14th.
7th sounds like a great day.
Yep.
7th is great.
So is that a motion to get 4 dumpsters?
I'll second Lauren's motion.
Oh,
Okay, motion made by Lauren for 4
4
dumpsters on May 7th. Same time, same place?
Three dumpsters plus a metal dumpster.
plus a metal.
Okay, 3 dumpsters plus a metal dumpster.
Yeah.
On May 7th, 8 AM to 11 AM. That was a motion made by Lauren, second by Steve. Discussion.
Yeah, so I know it says no TVs and no monitors, but last year looks like we charged everybody for a TV and monitors. Can we do the same?
Yes.
And
So
grills
they
and
can bring their
appliances.
TV and monitor, but let's charge them $20 a piece for it,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Or a grill or an appliance.
Grill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we did that.
All right, we ready to vote? Doug,
Yes,
Ken,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan.
Yep.
All right, next up, discussion and action on Maxwell City Park rental agreement with Maxwell's Market in the Park. We did receive the agreement back from Gil. Does this have the corrections made already?
He was supposed to have.
Okay.
under 4, the back of the first page, 4D, talks about taking the garbage and other things, and it says will be removed by maintenance personnel. Who is that? Is that city maintenance personnel? Because that kind of, if so, that contradicts the first part, which says,
Well, no, the lessee is the Mark in the Park.
That's me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
but you aren't the maintenance personnel.
I'm
Well-
not, and I wondered last year, because we have those Ankeny sanitation toters, down the path. And then the ones on the inside, of course, those overflow too. So we just take those, put new bags in them and put them in our toters. We did that all season long. So I don't have any problem doing it myself.
I guess I don't understand
I
your
was,
concern. This says that Martin the Park will take care of all the garbage and make sure it's removed from the park.
maintenance.
By
personnel.
maintenance personnel, I'm
This
just
portion here.
a definition of who
Well,
maintenance
that's
personnel.
their maintenance personnel, not ours.
So it's marking the park people all
Yeah.
the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is what they've done.
It's me,
And
Doug.
done well.
And they're using Ankeny sanitation for that.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
No, Doug, you're right. That is confusing. I agree with you.
Steve?
So Gil has reviewed and approved it as to form.
Yes.
This is a 3-year agreement. And it starts last year.
Probably because that's when we gave it to Gil was last year. Just got back to us.
So that would need to be changed.
No, it starts this year, right?
July of 22.
July of 20, so it doesn't start until July of 22.
Well, and
Okay.
you can start it. I didn't understand the whole July start and not May.
Yeah,
But
I don't
that's,
either.
I think the one that our attorney sent over had May in
Yeah,
it,
22.
and he switched it to July. So, I mean,
And-
obviously I'm okay with anything.
In that same term, it says the lessee may use the property for the entirety of each Sunday of a Maxwell Market in the Park event, and the entirety of the property would be the entire city park. And we had in the February meeting a request which was not acted on for Old Settlers to have the entire park on August 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that would conflict. And you would take one and pass it down.
Would you start the first weekend in May? So do we want to do the first weekend? The city permit? You know what I mean? Because it'd be that Sunday.
Yeah, May 8th. I mean, I was looking at this date earlier, and I looked at it and said, oh, that was last year's flyer. May 7th, I've got, no, that's fine. Good. I mean, are the dumpsters removed?
Yeah, when do they come pick up the dumpsters from City Hall cleanup that same day?
They usually do, don't they,
Okay.
Deb?
Yeah, they usually
In the
do.
past, they-
Okay.
Good point.
I sketched out what the city park looks like. And there are various areas in the city park. We have a truck pull area. We have parking area, which Mark in the Park does use when they have their event, and also which other people use, such as the rodeo, which is number 3, uses when they have their events. We can rent our number 4 camping ground. We have a couple camping ground spaces, which is in the park. Number 5 is just, open space. 6 is usually the area along the road that is heavily used by Mark in the Park. And 5 and 6 are also used by Old Settlers. 7 is the Diamond, which is in the park. 8 is the bin area. 9 is the shelter area, which we rent out by code at a given price. The Where am I at?
10.
9, 10, is of course the dog park area. 11, horseshoe pitch. 12, sand volleyball. 13, south parking area, which is heavily used when there's sand volleyball or horseshoe pitching. The playground shelter area, number 14, soccer field, number 15, those are all city park.
Steve, are you referring to Sunday, August 7th when you speak of the map?
I'm talking
Or
about
just all of it?
this contract.
Okay.
Which says that it would be available for any Sunday, and there are areas in the park which, if you're going to rent the shelter, I think it's $35. If you're going to be camping overnight, what is it, $15?
15.
And any one of these other areas could be reserved for $10. So this contract says that we would charge Mark in the Park $15 per market, which means that nobody else could use anything, and that the city would be losing revenue by going into this contract. That's one issue. If we're going to say that somebody's going to get the whole park, then I'd say charge $10 per area, so it'd be $150 per day, not 15, and that would apply to Old Settlers and anybody else. So there's two issues. One issue is the contract says every Sunday, and the council needs to, and by ordinance, we have Old Settlers, and Old Settlers says that they're going to use the park on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, which is the 7th is a Sunday. And then is $15 the right amount?
Is there any clarification between the for-profit company or organization or whatever and a non-profit?
Nope.
Because that's something that.
You want a copy of the map?
Yeah. I thought that Old Settlers was considered a nonprofit and therefore no charge for Old Settlers. Has there ever been a charge for Old Settlers?
I believe the ordinance may say that the Old Settlers can use the park at no charge, but I would have to check the
Okay,
ordinance.
that was my understanding, and that's why I
But it's
was.
not a policy of the council, it's ordinance.
Okay. And from what I understand, they already have a contract with a band for the bandstand. And
On Sunday?
Yeah, on Sunday, like they used to have a band in there on Sundays. And what I was told is that that's major. It'll be for my generation. Because they're trying to get things, they've got more things for kids. They've expanded on the rides and everything for kids and teens. And that the band on Sunday is for like older generation. And there's other things that they have done differently is why they were asking for the whole park. Because of usage of the different areas.
I know that Old Settlers has been paying the city about $1,000 a year for the last few years in repayment of, or as contribution to the city for the building of the bin so that they
Oh,
didn't have
yeah.
to rent the tent.
Yeah, that was,
And so they've got at least 1 or 2 more years. where
Yeah.
They've agreed to, pay the $1,000.
right,
If the ordinance says that, we don't charge for the Old Settlers, or charge for Old Settlers Weekend, and we don't charge for Old Settlers Weekend. If it doesn't say that, we could certainly, say that they're already paying the $150. And maybe the, mark of the park doesn't need the whole park. Maybe there are areas on that map that, they don't use, in which case they could be crossed off. So,
When the ordinance went into place for Old Settlers, and if it says that we don't charge Old Settlers, the reason behind that is for what? Because it's community betterment, it's, brings more people in to the town, et cetera, right?
I suppose it could be any one of those things. Or it could just be because, it was considered a town celebration, and, and all that went into effect back in the 60s. It was a town celebration and all the churches were doing it, so who knows?
Lauren, would you be willing to forego that one Sunday or move it to another area? Since
Yeah.
it is available to the whole town, I mean, it is a town celebration.
Yeah, the discussion and, decision of the market is not to be a part of Old Settlers that weekend.
Okay, so that you wouldn't be doing anything that weekend, or would you just move it to a different area that,
We won't be in the park at all that weekend.
okay.
So maybe we should have that in the agreement,
I
the
thought
foregoing the one
It
weekend.
would certainly seem to be a conflict. I move
22
that
Sundays.
the contract be deferred till the next meeting so that, corrections, can be made.
It's a motion made by Steve.
What were the corrections gonna be made again?
Well,
Yeah, let's- I was gonna
dealing
say
with
let's-
the, fact that it
So we
says
can get it all
each
clear.
Sunday,
Yeah, there's no reason to delay it.
and also that it starts on July 12th. I mean, why July 12th?
Okay, so we want
I think
the
it should
same
start
days.
May 1st.
All right, so we need to change it to May 1st. Are 22
May 1st is
Sundays,
my first market.
22 Sundays the right number?
21.
21,
21.
Okay.
Foregoing August 7th,
except August 7th this year.
Well, excluding
excluding
first
Sunday of,
Friday
They're Sunday only.
through Sunday of August.
so the first full weekend. of
Full first
August.
full
No. Because that gets, if, the first is on Saturday,
Then that won't be,
then that is not an Old Settlers weekend.
but the first full weekend would be.
Right, the first
Well-
full
So
weekend
it's
would be
this-
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Technically, the
Well, first.
It has to
As
start on
long
Friday,
as-
right?
That's
Yeah.
start on
That's
Friday.
start on a Friday is the way they've done it. So if the
Excluding
first is on a
the
Friday,
first Friday, of August and the following Saturday and Sunday. Because to a lot of people, you say the first weekend, then if the first is on a Saturday and the second, then that's the first weekend. Because Friday is not part of the weekend, it's part of the work week. And 1 year,
So the Sunday following the first Friday of August would be a way to word it.
Yeah. sure, and the issue of the dollar amount.
I'm gonna state my opinion on the dollar amount. Obviously, it really doesn't matter because I don't have a vote. But we have a market in town that brings, on average, on good weekends, 1,000 to 2,000 people to our town, which is a great marketing thing. And I would hate to see that market go somewhere else. You know what I mean? I don't want to put it at an extremely high fee and lose it. And they came to us with the agreement. We didn't have an agreement on file at all.
Which is fine.
We're-
That's why we're talking
Yeah.
about price.
And
I agree. I think that the market brings great things to our town, and we need new and fresh ideas to market our town, especially if we are going to try and get any type of building development here. So my suggestion is maybe not go $150 by any means, but what does, if like I wanted to go rent the park for a graduation party, Deb, what would that cost me?
$10.
What,
Like I want the
Shelter.
shelter and I want the area around the shelter.
do you want all of the grain bins and the bandstand?
If you want the shelter, that's
The
$35.
shelter is 35,
Okay,
and then you reserve each of the other buildings for 10.
okay.
The stage
$10.
and the bins are $10 too.
Do we, somebody came in and said they wanted to use the, stage, basketball court, and the bin for an anniversary, the big bin for some anniversary birthday.
It'd be
They
$20
would be
reserved.
charged $10 for each one of those, or
$20 reserve, she said.
$20?
$20. So 25.
Well, traditionally you use zone 6, right? What else do you use other than zone 6 for market?
I use, and I highlighted it, I use 4, 5, and 6.
And just the 5.
Is there a charge for 5, Deb?
I don't know, I don't have a map.
Open park, just the open
Doesn't say
ground.
anything. This is confused.
No,
So there's no charge for 5.
it's just
There's
building.
3 different sections of 5, by the way.
I use the bin, there's the stages here.
No,
People eat in there,
So 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 8.
and I use
No charge for
two
5 though.
for park. I absolutely use this.
So 4, 5, 6, 8, 2.
Yeah, if they're just parking adjacent to the street, then that's no problem. If they extend up into that area where all the horse trailers are parked,
That's a charge for that area?
that is an area
Does the rodeo pay us for that?
we've never asked.
Mm-mm.
Should that be a area which could be reserved for an activity? If Mark in the Park is on Sunday and if they have barrel racing on Sunday, where are the horse trailers going to park? And did that happen last year?
Shannon and I coordinate that the week prior to a market,
Okay,
and I have his barrel racing scheduled this year.
if that's
He
being
calls me,
coordinated, then I
yeah.
wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, he calls me the night before and he ropes it off, and then I make a post that says, no parking, rodeo, and then my patrons know to park on the south side.
Laura, do you charge, like, say I had a jewelry table and wanted to use Market in the Park for that? Do you charge somebody a percentage of their profit, a percentage of their sales
You just have a set
that
fee,
could
don't
go?
you?
Flat
I don't take
Flat
their
fee.
profits. No, just a flat fee.
Yeah, it's just a flat fee.
They are charged a flat fee though. Okay, and could a percentage of that go to the city for quote rental instead of a flat fee amount, like you were saying, $150 or something like that?
I think
Say
we're already seeing
10%.
that when she gets her flat fees together, she reinvests it back into the community. I mean-
It goes to, bands and the cost that it does take for us to set up a kid zone. Again, the bands are expensive. Trash bags, there are just
Oh, yeah.
operating supplies that I pay for. And then, yeah, I would never, I don't think I would ever take a profit from a vendor. If their flat fee comes to the market and then we pay for everything that it costs per week from their vendor
That's
fees.
what I was just trying to think of a way around the fees for the park, like saying that.
Oh, your big X, your big X.
I do that. I thought that was the bulb.
No,
Dugout?
no, that's the.
I'm gonna use this.
That's a
Right side of
food
the
stand,
dugout.
church stand.
Do you use the inside of the food stand though?
No.
You just use the
She just
screen.
uses around there.
I mean, last year, Tony and the church were nice enough to let us put our stuff in there at the end of a market. I will rent in April 1. I take over a storage unit, so that'll be out of it.
But the issue is more along the line that the food stand cannot be rented on any Sunday because it's being used by the Bark in the Park, not the inside the food stand itself, but all the seating and everything else. So we would not be able to rent it if somebody did want to rent it. Now, what's the chance of somebody wanting to rent the food stand on any given Sunday of the summer? Is it 100% chance, so it's $35 each Sunday? Or is it a 1% chance, so it'd be 35 cents each Sunday?
Well, I would say in May and the first part of June, there was probably a pretty good chance because of graduations. But I know, like myself, I went elsewhere. I went outside of town. Of course.
Lauren, what do other cities do with markets? Do you know, as far as spaces go?
I know, well, I don't know what Bondurant does, and they're very similar to us. They're in the city park on a weeknight. I've never reached out to them to see what kind of setup they have, but I'm happy to do that.
I can call down to Bondurant and see.
Okay.
What does, and this is just for comparison, what does Old Settlers pay for that weekend?
They don't pay anything because the ordinance says that we do not charge them.
But they have been paying
$1,000.
$1,000.
They donated.
They donate
They donate to the band.
$1,000 to the band. Which was a great deal for them because they were paying
More rent than that.
$1,200 to rent a tent.
In a couple more years, it'll be zeroed.
Were they the ones, this goes before, no, it goes in my timeline. Were they the ones that renovated the bandstand? Or was that the Legion, or was that
That
somebody
was
else?
the Alliance who built the bandstand. And then the Old Settlers has been doing painting and maintenance on it for the last 10 years.
Okay.
I don't know if the city's done any, paid any maintenance on the bandstand or not.
We take care of the electricity.
Some electrical maybe?
So the market would be paying rent to cover in hopes that someone or the guess that someone would want to rent. The market's just going to pay for all of those weekends for
Or the council decides that, Mark in the Park should, get it for $15, and forego revenue that, it otherwise may or may not have received.
Do you know how much revenue we got in that fund last year?
Last year, not much because Market in the Park had it.
Right.
Did you have requests, that you were not able to honor?
Yeah, I had 3 of them last year. Plus, I had several campers that decided they didn't want to be down there when the market came in.
Any other discussion on the agreement itself?
I made a motion to defer, but it has not been seconded.
Is there a second to Steve's motion?
if we defer it and we move it to the next meeting.
Which would be the budget meeting in 2 weeks.
If we move it, what kind of changes are we making? I just want to make sure that we've made the changes for the agreement so that we come back to the next meeting and not do the same thing.
Right.
I think we have most of them, except for the dollar amount. Yeah, so change the July to May 1st,
Mhm.
and then exclude August, the
Sunday following the
first
first Friday.
Friday through
Sunday
Sunday in
following the
August.
first Friday of August.
Sunday following the first Friday in August. Great way to say it.
So basically OS weekend.
And then 21 instead of 22 times.
I got that.
Okay.
21.
And then let us know what other cities do.
Yeah.
If you could reach out to, like, is it Mitchellville that has one?
Mitchellville, Norwalk's another small one,
Nevada?
Nevada.
Ames has
Bondurant,
one at the mall.
Altoona, Ames. I can reach out to some of those.
I hit the
others.
smaller ones, the
Yeah.
ones more comparable to us size-wise.
What is I mean, I've raised the issue of whether or not $15 is appropriate. Lauren wants to rewrite the agreement with a different number. What's the input from other council members?
My suggestion would be 35. That's the rental of the shelter.
And it's more than what we would rent the camping area for. Well, yeah, because there's 2 camping spots down there, $15 a piece, that's $30. So
I agree with that. The $35 you're gonna lose if somebody wanted the.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because I personally don't know anybody that would rent the parking spaces
No.
or this campground over here or the ball field or the restroom area, whatever you want to call that. I mean, really what we would lose out on would be the church stand, the food stand.
And that's if somebody was in there cooking, is that what? Okay.
So you have at least 2 council people that felt that's fair. Does that provide you with guidance?
Guidance, yes. I will reach out to the other ones, and then of course I've got a counterpart to talk to as well.
Mhm.
So is there a second on that motion that Steve made?
Did you make the motion? It was so long
To
ago.
defer.
To defer.
To the
Okay.
next meeting,
Okay.
which would be the budget
I
meeting in
second.
2
Which
weeks.
is what we're going to do, okay.
Megan seconded it. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Ken,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Item 7G, discussion and action on appointment of open position on Parks and Open Spaces Board. Aaron Gilbert would like to be on the Parks and Open Spaces Board. The board currently has 4 members, but is allowed 7. Is there a motion to approve Aaron Gilbert as a Parks and Open Spaces Board?
I motion to approve.
Motion by Megan, second by Steve. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
yes,
Megan, or Lauren,
Yes.
Megan.
Yep.
Doug.
Yes.
Ken.
Yeah.
Item number 8, council and mayor reports. Steve, you're up.
the only issue that I had was the, car, and I believe that's been taken care of.
Lauren,
Freedom Food went really well. Last night there were 72 orders. Seemed to be a hit. I'm gonna check in with B&K tonight when I leave and make sure that she also did well. Hopefully it just keeps getting more and more people from here on out. If not, and we only go one night a week, worst case scenario, we only go one night a week.
and Sunday would probably be the best.
Sunday night would probably be the best. We'd probably take Monday out of it, but if we continue to do this and it goes well and we get more people, one recommendation was to move it up to Main Street on Monday nights to catch the crowd coming home. And I could talk to Deb on, certain permits that would.
That would be a DOT issue,
Mhm.
since it's Highway
Highway.
210.
Unless you asked any of the property owners, like Plunkett Seeds or
Oh, Plunkett.
C,
Oh, yeah.
Plunkett right there in the
Central
corner would be
Iowa
great.
Electric,
Mhm.
any of that area.
Did the blocking of the street help? Was it sufficient? And the suggestion of one-way traffic, did that work or not work?
I talked to Tony. Tony advised that instead of creating the one-way and cones and such for a smaller event, because we didn't have a big rush of people in the beginning, we instead opened their window facing west. So lines would then form down into Freedom Rock and the tank, and that worked out well. Actually, it was so cold last night, they just ordered and ran back to their car and then just sat and waited for their food.
So you parked on the west side of the street with the
Tonight
windows
they're parked
facing
on the
west?
west side of the street. Tonight
Yes,
they're parked on the west side of the street and I ordered from the east side, actually.
yes. And that was my mistake. I did not tell Kimberly to open to the west.
To the west, okay.
So when I got there, she was set up and I didn't have the heart to tell her to turn around.
No.
So but there wasn't.
There's no congestion.
There weren't enough cars.
Yeah.
That where people parked, that it created a problem.
I ate
No.
there at 5:30 and parked 2 parking spots over.
Okay.
There's 6 or 8 cars there at a time, that's about maximum.
That worked out really
So
well.
we're fine, and I don't think there was a need for one-way traffic, people.
There were
Worked
no
out good.
barricades, nothing.
No,
So
no, I think that went well.
So
Will it be, now, once we get market going, you'll have vendors down there,
Mhm.
and then potentially one of them or 2 of them who would come up here.
I have not got that far.
All right,
Um,
that's something we're gonna have to dovetail
I was
somehow.
gonna, maybe talk about how Freedom Food and the market was going to work. I haven't quite got that far down the lane, but
Why would they have to move up here? Why couldn't we just do the Freedom Food in the park?
yeah, and we could.
They
Leave
would
on
have to
B.
move, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3
They've
Instead of
already
making them
been there
move
for
all the way up to
years.
Trotter just from their spot.
on Sunday, there's 3 food trucks down there for 3 hours at a time. And then the softball team has also tried to coordinate with me on getting a food truck to stay at the softball games. So they would just either stay where they are so there's going to be a food truck down there for a very long extended period of time. So maybe Freedom Food has been just on Monday nights instead of Sunday nights too. I think that might
Yeah.
help as well. Something to think about.
Anyway, good idea. It's going well.
Yes. My other thing was, along with, item 7E on the cleanup day. Something I have to thinking about. I don't know if we've ever sent out like a town clean up your property type flyer.
Mhm.
Up your backyard.
Along with that. The only thing is I've received a couple phone calls saying how quote unquote run down our town looks, and it breaks my heart. So I think we need to definitely push forward with our areas of responsibility, and try to push what we can out of the cleaning up the owners' properties or personally owned properties.
In that budget, that was a community betterment area in the budget?
Mhm.
Could any of that be used for people who are poor, cannot do it themselves, disabled, unable to physically do it? Could any of that money be used for that to help clean up the town?
I do know that there's grants for that specific use, that
That'd be wonderful.
I think either the city or Kathy, we could reach out to Kathy and help that too,
And I think,
for that specific reason, low income.
yeah, and I think too, for people that can't clean up their yards, we have several entities in the town of Maxwell that would be willing to help those folks start getting junk out.
Okay,
We have silver cord hours for the high school kids that they have to get before they graduate. We have, I know in the
We don't
past.
like stealing my stuff here.
Oh,
that
sorry.
would be
I don't- Yeah. Are you, is that it? Is that all you
Something like that.
have? Yeah.
when you're checking each area, then could those areas or homes be identified so that you had a better comprehensive view?
I think
What
instead
all
of maybe
needed to be
us trying to
done.
identify those people, that if, I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
You
but
know, there's some pretty well-off people too that have messy yards. This is much as they should be able to come and ask for assistance with Deb or somebody and say,
people won't ask.
I know, but how are you going to point out who's who?
Well, you could tell by looking if it needs
I'm not
attention,
gonna take
and
that
then
responsibility. and
you
say,
don't have to ask those people that. That could be something, could be delegated. Would you, if we were able to get grants, then we have funds available, would you accept us helping you paint your house, wash your windows, mow your yard?
I think there's a fine line with that
Mhm.
too.
And I
When
think-
you receive that money as the grant money, it's actually given to the city and put into specific funds. Then the city or we reach out to builders, that money immediately goes to the builder and not the homeowner, because there's a fine line that you can go. You can't just walk up to somebody's house and say, you know, you
"Here's
need this, you need
$1,000
that.
to paint your
Yeah,
house."
you can't do that.
And I think some of those grants too, I think property owners actually have to be the ones that apply. Or
Absolutely.
you have to specify the property owner on those grants
Right.
too. So.
Right.
Okay, Megan.
Okay, so going along with her idea of the flyer, my idea was, I think there are a lot of people here that have an abundance of junk that has built up in their yards and side yards and backyards and things. And maybe they don't have the transportation to get it where it needs to go on this weekend, because I have worked the last couple years down there. And it seems like it's real hot and heavy for the first half hour, and then it just fades away.
That's nothing.
Yep. And we just sit down there. So what I was thinking is that we ask to join the high school with the Silver Cord program, guys that have trucks, the people that have junk in their yards that need it removed, don't have the way of getting it. They call City Hall. They get a sign up time for when somebody with a truck can come and help them move what they need moved out.
I think that's a good idea.
Great idea.
The one downside to that is I think we would have to use a city truck, because I don't think
Okay.
we can have them use their
We
own
wouldn't
truck.
want it, somebody's personal truck got messed up.
Yeah. Which is
But
doable.
we got
if have
trucks.
plenty.
Trailers.
We have a truck that's been through a wreck.
Yeah.
So,
Just
Couple.
that, or I mean, even people with trailers, then you don't have to worry about your truck. But if you have a trailer and a pickup truck to haul it, and you want to help the city, help these people clean up their yards, then
Good idea.
let's do it.
before we do that, I think we should check with Gil to see whether or not any volunteer who's picking up stuff, if they get injured, would it be a workman's compensation claim against the city because they're using city equipment on a city cleanup day,
Could
even if
we,
it's a volunteer?
could we not just put some kind of claimer in the
Well, that'd be what
Yeah.
we check with Gil on.
flyer saying, if you get, cut by metal, that's on you. Wear gloves.
If you lose a leg.
Well, we did this in the town where I was Southwest Iowa. People had to have it on the curb though, because you're
Sure.
not gonna go in their
Oh,
house
sure.
or in their
That's a
backyard.
better idea.
It had to be at the curb to be picked up.
Sure.
Because we've done that before, but yeah, checking with Gil.
We've done that here in town too, where we had people put it on the curb and then we had a truck go up the street and pick it up.
City of Johnston does that. I think they ask to put them on the curb, then I think they wait 2 to 3 days and then half of it's still there because people come and get it.
Oh, yeah, they should, yeah, Pilfer.
Were you city clerk when we were doing it that way, Deb?
No, but I lived here. And yes, half the junk disappeared.
Half
went-
of it disappeared and I also
Went
think
to other
Yeah,
cities.
it went to someone else's house.
Yeah,
Went to
exactly.
somebody
Let's
else's
the
not
reason
do
we
that.
stopped doing that is because it was, got to be such an expenditure of, a larger expenditure than what we were doing down the park. Because staff time, we had volunteers and we couldn't get enough volunteers, and we had city staff driving city equipment, and we had the tractor following to pick things up and put it in the truck, and it just got to be pretty expensive. But if we want to try it again, we certainly can.
Might be worth a try.
I just think
And I
there's
don't
a
think
lot
it
of
should
high
be-
schoolers that need silver cord hours, that there's really no other better way than
Yeah.
to
and
help
they-
on city
They
cleanup
enjoy
day.
doing it.
Well, I think too, I think we gotta find a fine line of specifying, if you can make it to the dumpsters, come to the dumpsters and drop that
Absolutely.
off. But if it's something big that needs to be picked up, we can look at doing that as well.
Yeah, or if you don't have the wherewithal or the equipment to take something to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think we need to reexamine
Yeah.
it. But yeah, no, that's all I had.
Doug,
And going one more on the timing of all this, we've held now for what, 5 or 6 months on getting our zones turned in and pictures all done. It'd be great if we could get all this done prior to our cleanup day so that would also mesh in. So that means we need to get busy on that sooner than later so that we can have, when we do the cleanup May 7th.
And what does, I'm sorry if I
Well, it's junk in yards
Bring
or
this
broken windows or.
up and it takes 20 minutes, but the zones that were, when we talk about, what does that entail? Like, do we just kind of drive around and snoop their
Go around,
properties?
take pictures.
Take pictures?
Whatever you can see from the street.
Or alley.
You can't go on to private property.
Okay.
But the timing of doing that, I think would be good to get
and
this
then when
done.
we send a letter out, we can specify that this is citywide cleanup day. We
Right.
expect it to be
Right.
cleaned up by
By
this time.
May 7th.
By midnight and May 7th, because there's no excuse not to.
Midnight of May 6th, so
May
that's.
seventh.
Forgot, so I'm gonna have to remind him too.
One other thing too, in looking at all, we had 4 meetings and Deb's, we corrected a couple things. So we had one item on the agenda twice, or it happened 2 months, but it really only happened one. One of it was we deferred Story County Housing Trust. Did we go ahead and ever act on that?
It's in the budget,
It's in the budget.
So that means, yes, we did.
400 and some
Or some,
dollars.
yeah, I don't,
It was approved as part of the budget.
okay, that was the other
And
thought I
I
had.
think I mentioned that at the last meeting,
Yes.
Yeah.
along with the other 2.5 hours of me rambling along. $400 would have been easy to miss.
Yeah, okay. And the last thing is, I know we get to doing the bills in a hurry. The backhoe number we had been using was 103 or 4,000.
I
Is
think it
it,
was 110, wasn't it?
well, we
I think it
split
was
it.
110.
Was it, okay, because it's showing 12106, I think, or maybe I'm on the wrong line of this. So, am I reading the wrong line?
No? Oh,
Because there's two numbers under the backhoe.
yeah, there is.
Or is that the total of the whole column? Okay.
I think that might be
that's
the total of the whole
Okay, that was my
column.
last one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ken?
I said 8:15.
I know, we're gonna hurry. We're not gonna make your time.
I would just like to ask the people of the town to, there's a little demonstration, I guess, over here yesterday, but don't poke the bear. Otherwise, we're gonna end up with a empty spot over there forever. We're working really hard, we got people working really hard, trying to get something going. We're talking to Casey's, we're doing all that. I just want to say, don't poke the bear, because we could end up with an empty spot in the middle of town forever. That's just the way they are, so. But that's all I got.
I'm gonna jump off of you, Ken, and give a brief update. Obviously, Story County didn't give us an update as to where they're at with their,
Investigation.
their investigation. Lauren and I have been in talks with, well, the developer has the potential developer, has a few contacts with gas stations. We've been in talks with the Story County Board of Supervisors. We've been in talks with Sparky's, who we're waiting to get back. And I heard from another person that earlier this weekend talking about that they have someone else that might be interested as well. One thing that I am keeping in the back of my mind, like Ken said, that property could be Casey's property for quite some time. They've had a property in Elkhart for what, 20 years, 30 years, and haven't done anything with it. And so Lauren's actively looking at other places in town where we can support a new business to go in, whether it's a convenience store, whether it's a gas station, anything like that. So we are working, spending long hours. I know I've been out a lot trying to figure this out, so.
You know, we have a wonderful piece of property there. It has frontage on 3 sides. We're using Trotter more innovatively than we have in the past. Perhaps what we should be looking at is making sure we get a sidewalk put in on the south and on the west side of that property as a way to make sure that the property is more accessible to the public, which would be paid for by the property owner.
For sure.
Possibly as an assessment against the property.
I thought so as well. When we look at that property right now, nothing has changed in the last month. It still looks the same. There's still a big burnt out hole on the side of it. The doors are blocked. The trash is blowing everywhere in there. And so depending on what our ordinance says, maybe next month we look at labeling it a nuisance property and we can go from there. So
We should approach Gil, our city attorney, and see what our rights are as a city in that regard. We may have to wait until all the investigations are closed
Yeah.
before we do anything, or we may not, I don't know.
And that's probably gonna be, the investigation process, I think, is gonna be long.
Yeah, it took them 2 or 3 days to get there after the fire
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, I know they always say that fire investigators are understaffed and I can,
Yes.
Would you like me to contact my contact as a VP of Hy-Vee to see if they have anything that could possibly be
That fit on that footprint.
for a small town?
Feel free.
You know, you think I should wait? Because, I mean, he's a good friend of mine.
See if they're interested, and if
Yeah.
they're interested, then we can try to figure something out.
Okay, well, since he's a personal friend, I thought I would be the best one to.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to put a toe in the water. We don't own it, we don't have any rights to it, yet. But it doesn't hurt any to find out what the possibilities are.
Okay, that they could even purchase land down coming into town or whatever.
It's possible. I've had that conversation as well. The one problem is it's gonna be a huge EPA nightmare, especially if they have underground tanks, because that is a
Because
floodplain.
the floodplain.
They would use above ground tanks like FS does.
Yep. Other than that, did you have a question, Lauren?
I did. I forgot to mention on the agreement. I don't know. Can I go back to that quick? Agreement, it'd be 4A. That was not on the agreement that our attorney drew up, but I wanted to make sure that 4A says maintain insurance on the event facility being leased during the lease agreement period to include any dram shop insurance if alcohol is being sold or served. I just wanted to be clear that the market does not hold the dram shop insurance. That'd be Nikki. And she forwarded that to me today, and it renews in June. And every year in June, and she will also additionally insure the city if that's what you guys prefer. So that's all I got.
Other than that, on my side, we're working very hard, especially on the development, trying to get people in. Be finding another gas station, because I know everybody's worried about that. So working very hard, lots of sleepless nights trying to figure this out. So
And these things aren't easy.
no,
It's not like we can replace the gas station next week.
Yeah.
There are so many steps and so many things to regulate and look at and work on. These things that, unfortunately, we lost the gas station and it takes a ton of time.
that's all I have. So we can move on to item 9, consent agenda for February 7th, 15th, and 28th, the minutes, and those as presented.
Full approval of consent agenda.
Moved by Steve.
I'll second, and we have made some changes. Deb took a couple of those, so.
Well,
as
one of them has been dropped off. And that was the only one.
March
that had-
3rd.
March 3rd.
March 3rd was
March 3rd, we
completely
took it
dropped.
completely out.
Is March
We'll do it
3rd the
next
right
week.
date or the wrong date, Deb, for that Melissa, when she came?
She was,
No,
Melissa.
Because that item shows on both.
No, she was on the 28th.
Melissa was here for the
Yeah, and it was
20th.
taken.
And that's
it was
when we held, okay.
meeting.
But we need to take it off then of the other one.
Yeah, she already said she was.
You got it, okay.
She said-
Okay, that's-
So a motion by Steve, second by Doug. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan.
I can only do the 15th and the 28th.
So you can yes for those.
Yes, for the 15th and the 28th, Deb.
Okay.
Doug,
Yes,
Ken.
yes.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Lauren,
Second.
Second by Doug. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Steve.
Did we
Yes.
just include this one?
Fifteen years.
That one's held.
You're gonna see.
Oh,
her.
wow.
We're
This one.
hell out of here.
I know, we didn't do this one.
Megan.
Did we pay the bills?
Sustained from all
That's
that.